Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 60 of Let's Play Tyranny. Now, I made a fatal error, and I am re-recording this part because of that, because I couldn't roleplay, because I couldn't figure out how he would actually respond to a question given to him by Tunon without looking at looking through the evidence we took of this. So, Graven Ash committed 7 different things. Seven things he did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, that's it. Right, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. I had to look it up. I had to look because I actually didn't know what my answer would be. But now I know, so we're all good.
Fatebinder, thank you for answering my summons. This could very well be the defining hour of the conquest.
I really do wish to. I said this before, but I in the part I just scrapped. I really wished I could say this, but like, just Kyros, it's not in him. He is too loyal at the moment. There could be some character development down the road, but at the moment he is a loyal subject of Kyros. So he's going to bow to Tunon.
I first want to make it clear why we've assembled today. After the collapse of Vendrian's Well and the start of the Civil War, it became clear to me that there must have been some great fault on the part of the Archons. We come together to root out the source of our troubles, and determine which of the Archons has sown more chaos during the war.
I don't think the answer to that question is... I think the answer to that question is obvious, Adjudicator. Giving voice to it here is but a formality to confirm what we already know. Tunon turns to aim what you can only assume is a stern look. He refocuses back onto you with a cool stoicism.
Much has happened since I dispatched you on that mission. With Kyros' mandate that only one Archon may rule the Tiers, the verdict is now more important than ever. We cannot allow this conquest to descend into total anarchy. You backed Graven Ash and his disfavored army at the start of the Civil War. I know that you must have been torn in your decision, but I assure you that your loyalty to the Archon isn't in question here. Only your findings will be weighed with their due importance.
What would you know of me, Your Honor?
In your professional and objective opinion, which of the two Archons is guilty of sowing the most chaos in the Tiers?
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the question I got stuck on. Because we would never openly, we are loyal, so but we tell the truth, but we would never throw someone to the boat. But they are both as guilty. If Graven Ash was more guilty, we would throw him to the boat like the wolf. But they're both guilty. They should be executed. The boss gun blinks. What? I'm afraid I have to echo that sentiment.
That is not an option. You were tasked with determining the guilt of one Archon and one Archon alone. Choose.
Then it would be the voices in the rat, Archon of Secrets.
And so the charges are declared. I'm confident you've come with prepared arguments and research, as is expected of your station.
No. I won't stand here and patiently sit for baseless accusation.
In accordance to Kyros' legal custom, you will state the crimes against the Archon and offer up your evidence. The court will weigh your claims on their merits. I would encourage you to make as many claims as possible. Bringing charges against an Archon is no small matter. They are not accountable to Kyros' laws with the same rigidity as an average citizen, so it may be more difficult to justify their guilt.
Understood. I won't withhold any legitimate claims from the court.
Provided that you have the evidence to back them, of course. To make a claim lacking evidence will only harm your case in the court's eyes. Is this understood?
Yes, I'll back up my accusations with hard facts. You no doubt recall the categories of infraction to which Archons may be held liable. They are sedition, incompetence, war crimes, and the hoarding of forbidden knowledge. Regulus nods to you. It's not every day that we are called upon to determine guilt on such a scale. Tread lightly.
Then we are ready to begin. State your claims, Fatebinder. You may proceed at your own pace.
I accuse the Archon of sedition most foul. Sedition? No small matter to weigh against an Archon. But if you believe the voice of the Nerat has colluded with the enemy, then have on. Present your case. The voice of the Nerat gave battle plans to the stalwart defenders. Pah! As if any credible evidence could be dragged up from that junk heap of a realm. Whatever you found is probably so smeared or torn it has to be illegible. You found evidence of such a crime. Shocking that the Archon of Secrets would allow any trace to fall in wayward hands. But Stalwart is far from the Archon's reach. Simply fascinating. Do you have any other further evidence supporting the claims of sedition? Under the voices of Nerat's orders, Hakonid Bronze smuggled iron weapons to the Vendrian Guard. The Archon of Secrets' treachery runs deeper than even I imagined. I fear this news harms the very foundation of our offensive. Thank you for delivering it to our attention. Do you have any further evidence supporting claims of sedition? The Scarlet Chorus aided the Unbroken during the Civil War. They found disfavored patrols on an enemy body. Patrols on an enemy body delivered by Chorus agents. The Chorus gang bosses swallows you speak to present the evidence and glances up to Tunon with mounting anxiety. Documentation is rare indeed in a time of war, where there confusion and disorder reign. The court accepts its evidence of collusion. Do you have any further evidence supporting the claim of sedition? I make no more claims of sedition, Your Honor. And let us move on to the charges. Yeah, the Archon is guilty of incompetence, Your Honor. The voice in the right has suffered charges of incompetence in the past, but always proved himself a capable leader in brilliant stretches. I'm curious if your evidence will prove otherwise. Go on, Fatebinder, the court's attention is yours. At the Burning Library, the Centaur twisted her mission into a sick game. Mighty Tunon, I was under the impression that the Archon could direct their forces as they see fit. And that there was a game, it was good as an expedition if they got the job done. Not when valuable wartime resources are at stake, and the Archon stood to lose troops for needless entertainment. Overruled. Kyros takes the knowledge of the Velium Citadel quite seriously, as do I. If one of the Voice's officers reduced their orders to a source of amusement, that reflects poorly on the Archon. Have you any other claims of incompetence? I am finished argument for incompetence, Your Honor. The Archon has we should turn to my charges. The Archon has perpetrated vile acts during this campaign. I accuse him of war crimes. The voice in the Nerat has a tendency to interpret Kyros' law as he desires, but I hope this practice hasn't spun out of control. Jagged Remedy was conscripting from the Unbroken when his forces were forbidden from the region. An infraction on the Starwall territory, which Graven Ash placed his claim. This shows some disregard for the disfavored operation. Do any other war crimes come to mind? Scarlet Chorus accidentally poisoned disfavored warriors at the Apex Siege. Is it our fault that disfavored refilled their canteens in the wrong well? I noticed Galeris didn't count the number of Vendrian scum we killed. A gambit with lethal consequences. Such a scheme puts everyone involved in danger. The Scarlet Chorus should take better care to keep both armies informed. Do you have any other war crimes come to mind? I found a log of interrogations and tortures by one foul murmur. He recorded vile acts with disfavored prisoners before the war. Disgusting. Nothing less than the full brunt of Justice Hammers will avenge my countrymen. Albatronus shakes her head. Murmur's grasp on literacy is uncertain at best. The man couldn't remember the date of his own birth, much less the date of an interrogation. Bodmalt trails off as Tunon stares him down. Shocking. More so than the acts themselves, the brazen disregard for peace, as if the Ark himself mocks us from afar. Do any other war crimes come to mind? I have exhausted my evidence of war crimes, Your Honor. Very well. Have you another charge to levy against the Archon? The Archon is guilty of hoarding forbidden knowledge. A difficult truth to bring to light. The fact remains that Kyros is the keeper of wisdom across Terratus, and there are avenues of study denied as under our unadmissible law. If the Archon of Secrets treats this conquest as an opportunity to pillage forbidden knowledge toward his own end, then it is worth the court's attention. Make your case, Fatebinder. The Centaur sought to claim the Silent Archive for the Voices in Nerat. Kyros proclaimed the Edict of Fire for a good reason. The sages would not relinquish their dangerous knowledge. Claiming the Silent Archive is an obvious transgression of the Overlord's authority. There's no telling how many recruits were exposed to dangerous law and will require immediate execution. I wouldn't worry over much, Great Adjudicator. I'm sure the Center picked only the most dim and illiterate swine for the task. Not that you'd call not what you'd call the bookish types. Unless you can personally vouch for every single recruit who has entered the library, it will be up to the court's discretion to decide the magnitude of guilt. Callio nods up to Tunon. Can you voice any further evidence that the Archon hoarded forbidden knowledge? During the conquest, the Scarlet Chorus desired the knowledge of captured sages. It has been long known that the sages possess more knowledge than any subject of Kyros is warranted. The Overlord, in her wisdom, keeps such law forbidden for the safety of us all. The Scarlet Chorus should know of this and fear the repercussions. We do have a healthy sense of caution for such things. Bloodmort nods slowly, choosing his own words with care, but no one in the campaign could tell what forbidden knowledge was from what wasn't. The law is the will of Kyros, and you are hardly qualified to interpret its intent or use it to justify any poor excuse of an argument in your favour. Callio smiles pleasantly at Bloodmort and inclines her head to Tunon. Can you voice further evidence of the Archon's hoarding of forbidden knowledge? I have submitted enough evidence for this charge, Your Honour. Then, unless there is anything further, let us return to the matter of the other charges. I have made my case to the best of my abilities, Your Honour.
Very well. I have weighed your evidence against the charges. The Court of Tunon the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, and Counsel to Kyros the Overlord, finds the voices of Nerot guilty of sowing chaos, flaunting his authority, and using a time of war to advance his own twisted ambition. The sentence is death.
What mockery of a process is this? The charges are all fabrications against my master, and I won't hear any of it. The Court of Tunon has ruled, you overripe pustule. I suggest you hold your tongue.
In accordance with Kyros' laws, the court headsman will deliver the verdict and its consequences to our former colleague. I summon Blood and Mark to appear.
Tunon bangs his gavel on the floor. Shadows billow and flare ominously, thicker than blood and deftly seeping and ganashing, eating at the throne room from their farthest edges in, closer and closer, creeping still until finally, for a single held breath, even the air goes black and the light has been swallowed. My apologies. And then there is light again, and Blood Mark, the Archon assassin, standing before you, shrouded in shades and daggers, and death, and with white teeth flashing in his mouth as he laughs. Kid, Adjudicator. He regards you each eyes two coals, then burns as he speaks. That burn as he speaks. And who will this blade be cutting today? The usual or someone new? Actually, I'd like to carry out the execution myself. Now see, that's what I like about you, kid. You're so malleable. He tips his head to you in farewell and amusement, flourishing a shadowy dagger between his fingers. Don't get yourself killed. I'll have to clean up after you.
The court has greater need of legal minds than it does of headsmen, but I will allow this predisposition of yours as long as it doesn't conflict with your duties. Deliver this writ to the guilty, and execute them with the court's approval. First, there is the matter of the petitioner who so blindly followed their corrupt and reprobate master.
The Adjudicator turns his attention to the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus petitioners. Even though through his stoic mask, his intensity of his gaze is evident. What can I do for you, mighty Tunon? Bloodmort winces and takes a cautious step back.
Given the court's findings, I judge you guilty by association with the voices of Nerot. As he perpetrated his crimes, you had the audacity to represent the Scarlet Chorus in this hall of law. What of his fate, student? You proved the voice's guilt. His servant is yours to dispense with as you see fit.
Execution. His master will join him soon enough.
So it is judged. Nunaval, deliver the sentence elsewhere. No need to dirty the floor with this one's passing, especially while we have matters yet to resolve.
Oh shit, son. Return once your duties are complete and the Archon is dead. There is more still to do resolve before this conflict reaches a satisfactory end. Tunon regards you with an intense, emotionless stare. Do not dally. I'm not scared. Are you scared? No, I'm fucking. No, I'm fucking on about. What the fuck? Okay, so let's have a look. Seat of power. You still need to claim that. We need to go do that. Never free. Let's talk to Kelio. If the game don't mind. Galeris, I see you've returned to the fold. Your exploits and venture well the matter of some discussion. The fatebinder of balance regards you with a discerning eye, and for a moment you feel as if she is trying to peer into the very depths of your mind. What can I do for you? Kelio touches a gentle hand to your soldier. You wrote that you could illuminate the dark corners of Terratus. You glanced at your cadre. In private missive, yes. There are things I won't discuss within the hearing of outside ears. I need to speak to the fatebinder privately. I suppose not every conversation needs to be recorded. The sage shuffles away. The hulking man shrugs. As you wish. He takes up a position outside of the hearing range, standing just shy of it at attention. Suit yourself. She moves away lightly, footsteps soundless on the marble floor. A slight smile dimples her left cheek. I confess to no small amount of curiosity. I peek into my share of shadows, and sometimes I scrounge up a secret. What excites your interest? I thought you might have an interesting take on matters arcane. And you came to me, she chuckles. Don't let Fatebinder of Law know. He'll never forgive you. What answer do you seek? You don't have, I don't know, that's, oh yeah, fuck this. Feel free to turn, yeah, we'll do that later. At the moment, we need to go, we just need to go somewhere. Fuck knows where at the moment, we're going somewhere. I want to know why the fuck that's lit up. So I'm going to go there and see why the fuck that's lit up. And if this fucking ends up in me dying, then, well, c'est la vie, I believe they say. Oh shit, this is the area. I know where, yep. Wind-born ash assaulted your senses even before the river you reached River's Break. By the time that the farmstead had come into view, the burning smell of was joined by those of charred, rotting flesh and blasted vegetation. The house stands in ruins, the plaster cracked and blackened. Worth stepped forward, arms slack at her sides, mouth agape, slightly agape. What the Kyros loving shit. Careful verse, it could be a trout. And one with all the subtlety of a beast in heat, maybe. Her hands slip closer to her weapons. Let's poke around. Maybe there's something here that'll give us a better sense of who did this and why. Shh. The charred and small remains of a corpse of an older woman has been dumped. Okay. Essa. Fuck. Verse sinks to her knees and in the ash and touches the charred and peeling face. After a moment of silence, she looks up to you and then shakes her head. I couldn't have given her a clean death, and instead she ends up here, burned alive. That's mercy for her. She glances down at the blackened palms. This isn't your fault, you know. No shit, this isn't my fault. And when we find those fuckers whose fault it is, I'm going to make damn sure they understand the pain of being roasted like a pig on a spit. Let's figure out what happened here, Fatebinder. Then we'll go mete out some justice. I'll mate out some justice. What's this? So, deep gouges near the mouth of this doorframe. Somebody pried this door open. Someone with iron. She runs a finger along the doorframe. The disfavored may have the collective brain of capacity of a crate filled with stone, but they treat their weapons like each other. Each one is the daughter of Kyros. Disgraceful. The Overlord and the Great General gifted us iron that we might spill the blood of our enemies, not to ever open a stubborn door. Barrett glances at the door, his head bowed. So yeah, a few slivers of blackened iron hide embedded along the splinters. And I'm pretty sure we'll leave the rest for the next part. But you guys enjoyed, see you guys next part. See you guys then.